Yeah. I'm over here sipping on coconut, talking about when you gonna fight.
Jon Jones drops a shocking retirement bombshell in a leaked video, leaving Tom Aspinall and the UFC heavyweight title picture in complete chaos.
10 years left.
He said, you got 10 years left, but you're still active.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm done.
Jon Jones might be calling it quits, and if that's true, it could go down as one of the most controversial exits in UFC history. In a leaked video that made waves across the MMA community, the reigning heavyweight champion was caught saying, I'm done, during a FaceTime call. This revelation, seemingly spontaneous and unfiltered, came while Jones was in Thailand filming a Russian reality show styled after The Ultimate Fighter. With that brief comment, Jones added even more confusion to the growing uncertainty surrounding his future. Just as anticipation was peaking for what many had hoped would be a massive heavyweight title showdown against interim champion Tom Aspinall. The potential unification bout between Jones and Aspinall has long been teased as one of the most high-profile matchups the heavyweight division could offer. UFC CEO Dana White even labeled it as possibly the biggest heavyweight title fight in UFC history. Yet, despite Aspinall's interim title win back in November 2023 and repeated public calls for the bout, the matchup remains frustratingly out of reach. For fans and fighters alike, it's felt like chasing shadows. Now, the situation seems to be unraveling further.
Tom Aspinall is now the longest reigning interim champion of all time at 535 days. Jon Jones is now the second longest reigning heavyweight champion of all time. Jon Jones has had a fight. He fought Cyril Gane, Typically speaking, when you got a big fight and one guy starts denying, that's not happening here. These guys are not getting headlines. Where are we in this? Where's the negotiation? Because something needs to be done.
The video of Jones, shared on a Russian YouTube channel called Ushateka, shows him FaceTiming with Kamil Gadzhiev, founder of Fight Nights Global. During their chat, Gadzhiev joked about Jones having 10 more years left in his career. But Jones quickly shut that down, laughing and repeating that he was done. This wasn't just a throwaway comment, it felt authentic and final, especially considering it came just hours after Jones took to social media to air out his confusion over the UFC's silence.
Like that. My man.
I'm excited to see you again.
But you are still active. 10 years left. But you are still active.
He said, you got 10 years left, but you're still active.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm done.
He got a little girl, he's like,
I'm looking forward to seeing you again, Camille. You look great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's do some business.
In a post to X, formerly Twitter, Jones wrote that he had told the UFC his plans a long time ago and had no idea why they hadn't been shared with the public yet. He brushed off fans suggesting he should be stripped of the title, indicating he didn't care much about things like that. The message was clear: whatever happens next, it's going to be on his terms. Jones also claimed he would be willing to vacate the belt if the situation demanded it. These signals, both subtle and overt, suggest Jones is disengaging from the sport, even as the clamor for a fight with Aspinall reaches a fever pitch. His current lifestyle seems to support that notion. Rather than training for another title defense, Jones is in Southeast Asia, appearing on the second season of ALF Reality, coaching opposite fellow UFC star Nate Diaz. Far from the octagon, he appears relaxed, comfortable, and fully invested in other pursuits.
You excited to do the Russian Tough or what? You excited to do the Russian version of Tough?
Absolutely.
B-roll. We got that B-roll, B-roll.
Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall is left hanging. The interim champion has made no secret of his frustration. He's publicly called for Jones to either agree to the unification bout or vacate the title. For Aspinall, this has become more than just a professional rivalry. It's about clarity and respect. Having earned his spot through dominant performances, he believes he deserves his shot at undisputed gold. But Jones has shown no real interest in making that happen.
John, in my opinion, if you look at his body of work over the last 15 years,
He's like as close as you can get to perfection as possible. He's like 37, 38 years old, but not only that, he's got 1 million miles on the clock. So he's got a lot of damage on the body. He's took a lot of shots to the head. And that's not me saying anything negative about it. That's the reality of it. And I'm sure Jon Jones is aware of that. And he's fighting one of the most concussive punchers in UFC history. And I just think I can exploit it. Like, I think to get out the way of me for 25 minutes at this point in his career without getting hit once, and that's all I need is one, I think that's going to be very difficult for anybody.
For his part, Jones seems more intrigued by other kinds of matchups. He's mentioned Alex Pereira, the current light heavyweight champ and former middleweight title holder, as someone he'd be willing to fight. Pereira's own meteoric rise and knockout power have made him a fan favorite, and a bout between the two could be framed as a legacy-defining clash. That's the kind of fight Jones appears to prefer at this stage in his career, ones that enhance his historical standing, not necessarily the ones that fans or rankings demand.
If I'm being completely honest, I feel like Tom's been such an that I don't want to do business with him. You know, it's just like his fans have been so annoying. And obviously you don't get this far in a career being affected by fans or whatnot. But he's just an, you know, with his, you know, he's 30, so he's from this influencer generation where you hop online and the t-shirt sales and all that. I'm past that type of stuff. I'm like, bro, if you had a little bit more respect, then maybe we could have worked something out, you know, but I just don't even want to do business with him. You know, at the end of the day, this is a business. And fighting me gives him an opportunity to change his life forever. And I don't even want to give him the opportunity. Like he just played his cards wrong with me personally. And you know, I'm 3 years from being a 40-year-old grown man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, the press conference, going through the whole shebang with him, I'd rather not do. Pereira on the other side, respectful, cool, barely says much. It's like, I'll do business with you. I would risk it all with a human being like you. You actually have the accolades to back up your shit. This other guy is just a big mouth who's hot today. There's been so many guys who's hot today who are just gone. You know, Sergey was in the same position not too long ago. Now he's starting to fall off already. I've just been around this sport too long to give a big mouth who's hot today the opportunity.
Former UFC light heavyweight Anthony Smith recently offered insight into Jones's mindset. Smith, who fought and lost to Jones back in 2019, believes Jones is expertly manipulating the entire situation. According to Smith, Aspinall is making a mistake by constantly provoking Jones and trying to appeal to his ego. Jones doesn't operate on ego battles. Smith argues he operates on control, and in this scenario, Jones holds all the cards.
Yeah, I have a lot of love and respect for Tom Aspinall, but if I'm Tom, I'm probably gonna be a little quieter. I think that he's poking and he's prodding and he's trying to attack Jon Jones's ego a little bit and force Jon into this ego competition where Jon says, I'm not afraid of you, I wanna go fight now. Jon is not gonna do that. Jon Jones, in every single part of his life, has to be in control of it. And Jon is the master manipulator, and he's a master at the mind games that are behind this sport. He's been doing it for so many years against the best guys in the world. So I understand that Tom Aspinall has this fighter mindset where he wants to say, I'm better than you and you think you're better than me, and so I'm gonna keep attacking that. Jon doesn't care about any of that.
Smith described Jones as a master manipulator, someone who has spent his entire career mentally and emotionally exhausting his opponents before even stepping into the cage. Aspinall's repeated attempts to goad Jones into a fight may actually be backfiring, pushing Jones further away instead of drawing him in. Smith suggested that Aspinall might be better off staying quiet, as continued prodding only strengthens Jones's resolve to remain in control.
Jon Jones does not care what Tom Aspinall wants, and in fact, wants to do the complete opposite of what Tom Aspinall wants. If Jon and Tom want the exact same thing, then Jon doesn't want it anymore. And that's how Jon is gonna operate. It's one of the most exhausting things that I've ever had to deal with, and I have to respect it. John is the master at emotionally and mentally exhausting people, and you can see it in Tom Aspinall a little bit already. He's starting to get...
This dynamic has become increasingly evident. Aspinall is eager, restless, and growing tired of the waiting game. Jones, on the other hand, appears indifferent, if not outright amused. It's a chess match where only one side is moving the pieces, while the other waits endlessly for their turn. Even if the UFC is trying to make the fight happen, Jones is showing little interest in cooperating unless it aligns perfectly with his own vision.
John Jones, you don't know where you stand. Dana said it's the biggest fight in UFC history now, so...
Yeah, I've had enough talking about it, mate. I'm honestly bored of it. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll just see. I'm ready to fight whenever they tell me, so just let me know. I'll be there.
Everyone thinks you're a bit of like a quintessential good guy. Could we see a heel turn at some point in the MMA world?
We might do. Who knows? Who knows?
Adding fuel to the fire, Jones's old rival Daniel Cormier weighed in with some sharp words. While Cormier has no intention of returning to the octagon, he delivered a cutting message to Jones. Instead of hiding behind the excuse of legacy fights, Cormier urged Jones to step up and face the man who's earned his shot. Cormier argued that Aspinall isn't just a contender, he's the present and future of the division. By avoiding that challenge, Jones risks tarnishing the legacy he's so determined to protect.
I saw the other day, Jones was talking about how can people say that I'm ducking when I'm out here living my absolute best life. I don't know that that is like the same thing. You can live a great life and not be fighting somebody, whatever. But in talking about what you would have done to me 7 years ago, 5 years ago when I retired, how about this? I've got a novel idea for you. I'm retired. I'm done. I'm 46. I'm washed up. I'm a broadcaster. I'm a commentator. I am a talking head. How about this novel idea? Fight the dude that's actually wanting to fight. I don't want to fight John Jones. I have no desire to fight anyone.
Cormier's criticism hits hard, especially considering their history. He called on Jones to stop living in the past and acknowledge the reality of the current division. His message was pointed: stop the mind games, face Aspinall, and settle the score. Otherwise, Cormier implied, Jones might go down as the champion who ducked the most deserving contender of his time.
There's a guy that's up to his neck in frustrations because he's been waiting for so long. And now you're out in Thailand doing a reality show that's going to take another month. We don't know when the fight's happening. Dana is getting bombarded with questions the other day on his live. When are we getting that? When are we getting that? He's still trying to find ways to tell people, calm down, it's coming.
Behind all the speculation is a growing concern that Jones is pricing himself out of the fight on purpose. Reports suggest he would only consider fighting Aspinall for an astronomical paycheck, rumored to be around $30 million. That figure has drawn skepticism from both fans and analysts, many of whom view it as a thinly veiled excuse to avoid the fight entirely. For them, it's less about money and more about risk.
When's the fight with the guy that actually wants to fight you? Doesn't need to be a hypothetical. You guys can actually answer the question as to who's better between you and Tom. I was the heavyweight champ in 2018, 19. You're the heavyweight champ today, and there's another heavyweight champ that wants to fight. Do that. And for everybody going, he's ducking. I didn't think that his video saying, I'm living my best life equates to him not ducking. But I will tell you this. Don't be so quick to judge and think that Tom Aspinall is just going to beat John Jones.
Chael Sonnen added another layer to the discussion. Sonnen doesn't believe Jones is outright refusing to fight. Instead, he sees the situation as a financial standoff. According to Sonnen, Jones isn't in a position to walk away from fighting just yet. While he's made plenty of money, Sonnen argues it's not enough to retire comfortably, not if Jones wants to maintain his lifestyle and status.
Two options for John Jones. There is for Tom. In fact, for Tom, there's 3 and 4 and 5 options. John Jones will be offered a fight with Tom, or he cannot fight at all. And when you're a prize fighter, electing to not fight does not make you good at negotiating. It makes you unemployed. And John Jones has done great, but John Jones has not made walkaway money. He just simply isn't at a point in his life or career that he's going to be walking away. And when you understand he only is given one option, like if he holds out for Tom and doesn't come to the table, they're not going to go, all right, well, how about you fight Curtis Blades?
From Sonnen's point of view, the UFC won't wait around forever. If Jones continues to decline the Aspinall fight, the promotion might simply move on without him. That, Sonnen believes, would be a bad move on Jones's part. With few viable opponents left in the division and Pereira not guaranteed to move up, Jones is rapidly running out of options. Eventually, Sonnen says the only path forward will be Aspinall.
So, the UFC has a colossal card up its sleeve. And the colossal card to pull. You guys got to understand, what works in the pros isn't something sophisticated. It's the same things that worked on the playground. Whatever it was that got you and your classmates talking about going and watching so-and-so at 3 o'clock behind the shed, like whatever that was, it's the same thing that carries over to the pros. You're dealing with the same market of classmates. You just call them peers. You just call them consumers. It's the same thing. And the UFC could pull the card of stripping Jon Jones, of making Tom the undisputed champion without ever having to throw a punch. Or if Tom is going to go out there and fight and defend, it will not be a defense of the interim belt. It could be a defense for the vacated undisputed belt.
Former heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez shared his thoughts with cautious admiration. While acknowledging Aspinall's rise and effectiveness, Velasquez suggested that the Englishman's striking patterns might be too rigid and predictable for someone as cerebral and tactical as Jones. He emphasized that Jones's brilliance lies not just in athleticism, but in his methodical breakdown of opponents. Velasquez expressed confidence that, if it came to it, Jones would dissect Aspinall's habits and find a way to capitalize through precision planning and mental sharpness.
What do you think of Tom?
Great, obviously, champion of the world. Amazing, he's beaten some tough guys to get there.
You think he beats Jon Jones?
No, I don't think he does.
Why not?
So me just watching him, I kind of see his pattern a little bit and his striking, the way he comes in and strikes. And I think Jon sees it too. Jon's studies, man. He does his homework, He's a master at this. He's gonna know what to do. So I don't think he beats Jon. No. The simple fact is the way Tom he doesn't have a pattern that's somewhat easier to find when he comes in and strikes. And I think you know what we're talking about. A lot of things come with that. It's disguising your pattern. It's throwing fakes here and there before. But when he comes to attacks, he comes in and attacks. It's 100% full go. He comes in, glides in, lunges in, and does his attack. Again, not that it's not effective. It is. He's done great things with it. The type of guy that Jon Jones is, I think he studies them and he beats them because of that.
The buzz around Aspinall's momentum has even tested loyalty among his countrymen. Paddy Pimblett, a fellow Brit and personal friend, admitted he still couldn't go against Jones. Despite his support for Aspinall, Pimblett leaned on Jones's unmatched track record, highlighting his ability to evolve in real time and adapt mid-fight. According to him, it's Jones's longevity and intelligence that make him nearly impossible to bet against, regardless of the challenge ahead.
Do you think the Aspinall-Jones fight happens?
It's got to happen. I was sitting next to Tom the other week at the UFC in London and talking to him about it.
How do you think that plays out if they fight?
I'll be honest, Tom's a friend. I love Tom. He's one of the coolest dudes in the whole of MMA. Even though Jones is getting old, I just can't pick against Jon Jones. The one thing I do think Jon Jones has got the best in the world and the best ever is his fight IQ. He has a perfect game plan to beat that person. As much as I love Tom and I want Tom to win, I couldn't pick against Jon Jones. It's just something I couldn't do.
Others, like Martin Tybura, approached the situation from a different angle. Tybura viewed the extended buildup not as a missed opportunity, but as a strategic slow burn. In his mind, the prolonged anticipation only enhances the spectacle. The lack of official confirmation from the UFC may actually serve to elevate the hype. Tybura suspected that both teams could be engaging in a psychological chess match, trying to gain leverage in negotiations while simultaneously inflating the fight's profile.
It's crazy to think what this guy is capable of and how quick that was, and where is the roof? That's the only question. Who can stop him right now? I cannot tell. I know Jon Jones in his prime time maybe, but now he's might be a little bit older and the skills might be not there. So I don't know. It's crazy where he's going to.
From a technical standpoint, Arman Sarukian added his analysis by focusing on range and distance control. control. He noted that Jones's reach advantage and strategic management of space could neutralize Aspinall's explosive attacks. Rather than meeting power with power, Tsarukyan believed Jones might stay just out of range, pick his shots, and avoid danger while scoring tactically. This, in his view, could become the fight's defining element, showing Jones's skill at turning aggression into frustration for his opponent.
Who do you see as the #1 pound-for-pound guy in the UFC right now? Is it Makhachev? Is it somebody else?
Of course, it's a John Jones.
John Jones?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We got to get him fighting Tom Aspinall maybe this summer.
Good. Yeah, that's the fight everybody wants to see, even me. And because young guy versus like GOAT and real like heavyweight. So I feel like it's gonna be hard for the John Jones.
Rashad Evans, a former champion himself, offered a more reflective view. While he appreciated the potential magnitude of the fight for UFC history, Evans sympathized with Jones's apparent hesitation. He understood that for a fighter like Jones, who has built an almost untouchable legacy, taking a risk this late in his career could unravel years of dominance if it goes wrong. Evans expressed a hope to see the fight materialize, but ultimately respected Jones's right to protect what he has already built.
All right, last thing. John Jones, Tom Aspinall, who you got?
I got John Jones. I think Tom Aspinall is a man, but I feel like, you know, John Jones is just another level. He can do it in so many different ways with his striking, with his grappling, and I feel like, you know, being in a situation, coming in a fight where he's kind of being pushed into this point, I feel.
Tom's a big boy.
Yeah, but I feel like with John's a big boy too, and John knows how to fight like a big boy. Right. You know, one thing I feel like what Tom does really well is he moves so well, and I feel like that may give John a little bit of trouble, but I feel like John is smart enough to figure it out.
Frank Mir highlighted the stylistic contrast between the two fighters. While he credited Aspinall as a dangerous striker with legitimate knockout potential, he pointed to Jones's superior grappling as a potential game changer. For Mir, this wasn't just about matching strength for strength, but understanding where the fight could be controlled. He suggested that Jones might not need this fight to define his legacy, and considering the risks involved, may simply choose to pass on it altogether.
I think Tom might have the best chance of anybody to beat John right now. But that being said, I still think John wins the fight just because of his wrestling. I think he puts, you know, Tom on his back and then is able to nullify his jiu-jitsu from being top position with his elbows and control. What does John win? Take that fight. He goes out there and beats Tom. Is it really going to make or break his career? I don't think anybody cares.
Israel Adesanya echoed that sentiment, analyzing how Jones could impose his will by taking the fight to the ground. He emphasized that Aspinall's striking might not matter if Jones dictated the pace from the top position, slowly wearing his opponent down. Adesanya highlighted the importance of fight control, arguing that if Jones gets Aspinall into grappling exchanges early, it would sap his energy and reduce his striking output over time.
But Aspinall, so far, the way he dispatched the Russian guy, oh my God, and he's fast, but he's the same height as me, if not an inch taller, but thick. And I was like, you're a lot thicker than I would expect. And the speed, yeah, that's the thing that I'm like, okay, that's the danger. But again, grappling, he's a black belt, but John is, it's different. Yeah. But I don't know, man. They got to fight. But if they don't ever fight, we'll never know. That's because we had that with John and Silva. We had that with Silva and GSP. So all these fights we will never see.
Georges St-Pierre brought a different layer to the discussion by focusing on the natural decline that all athletes face. While he praised Jones as one of the all-time greats, he warned that age and wear eventually affect everyone. GSP saw Aspinall's youth and athleticism as major threats, especially if Jones is no longer operating at full physical capacity. However, he believed that if Jones is both mentally invested and properly compensated, the bout could be a meaningful final chapter to a legendary career.
If I have to choose someone in his prime that I put in the Coliseum hand to hand, I think it would be John Jones. You know, it's hard to deny that. However, nobody beats time, and Tom Aspinall is on a hell of a run now. So it's to see how they get a match. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. As a fan, I want to see this fight. I would like to see this fight, but I think Tom is very hungry, and it's up to John to see if he still wants to do this and if the UFC can compensate him good, because I think he deserves it. So it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Sean O'Malley offered a contrasting view, arguing that the stakes are higher for Aspinall than for Jones. From O'Malley's perspective, Jones's legacy is already secure, with nothing left to prove. A fight against Aspinall would mean more for the Englishman than for Jones. If Aspinall were to win, it wouldn't just be a title unification, it would cement his place among the sport's elite and possibly launch him into superstardom.
Tom Aspinall? God damn. It's like everyone, it's like you risk going down as the, no matter what, you don't have to fight again. Greatest of all time, people will say that. You're the greatest of all time, greatest of all, John Jones. Or you risk it, go fight Tom Aspinall, possibly lose, and then it's like, he was the greatest. Then they're saying, yeah, but he wasn't in his prime.
With each passing month, the situation grows more bizarre. The UFC has yet to clarify its official stance, even as Jones insists he's already informed them of his plans. Aspinall waits, the division stalls, and the fans are left in limbo, all while Jones continues living it up abroad, coaching a reality show in a country thousands of miles away from the octagon he once dominated. Whether Jones truly intends to retire or is just leveraging his status for a better deal remains unclear. But one thing is certain, the longer he stays away, the more it feels like the golden era of John Bones Jones might already be over. And if that's the case, it won't end with a bang, but with a shrug, a cryptic post, and a leaked video from halfway around the world.